We all know the daily grind can be exhausting. It's an especially defeating feeling when you work hard for hours only to realize that not much has been accomplished. You feel distracted, disoriented, and even feel anxious as if the day's time has been wasted. And you can't even quite recall what you did for the day. We often hear the famous saying, work smarter, not harder. This highlights the importance of focus and having an effective system that actually works, rather than simply putting in countless hours on tasks without making meaningful progress. So, in today's video, I'll be sharing 5 most powerful time management tips that have worked for me and that I'm still using. And I'll also show you how I structure and manage my time throughout the day while juggling my business and family. Hopefully, you'll find a few tips in the video to help you create and adjust your daily routine to be not only more productive, but also genuinely more enjoyable. The first tip is to do one thing at a time with full focus, aka Pomodoro Technique. I don't believe in multitasking very much. The quality of focus is the best way to be productive. In the past, I used to sit at my desk for many hours grinding away, but I often ended up unable to accomplish as much work as I had hoped. Not even close. So I intentionally try to stop multitasking, even the kind that I tend to do automatically by default. Instead, when I focus on one thing, I aim to give it my full attention and use the time as efficiently as possible. Having an effective system that promotes full focus is crucial. It enhances the quality of your work and ultimately leads to the outcome you hope to achieve. With that said, the method I use for my focused work sessions is the flexible Pomodoro, which stems from the popular Pomodoro Technique. Pomodoro Technique is one of the most effective ways to maximize my focus, enhance the quality of my work, and minimize overwhelm. Here are the basic steps to follow the Pomodoro method. Number 1. Pick one task, preferably your priority number 1 task for the day to complete. Number 2. Set a 25-minute timer. A typical Pomodoro session lasts 25 minutes, but I do 35 minutes. Number 3. Work on your one task with full focus. No distractions. Number 4. When your session ends, record what you completed. I do this in my Notion to-do list. Number 5. Take a 5-minute break. Stand up, walk around, and stretch. Number 6. Repeat the process 4 times, but I do 3 times. One thing to note, if you finish one task with time left, don't stop the session. Move on to the next task until the break. Now that we've covered the basics of the technique, let me explain why I think the technique works for me and what I mean by flexible Pomodoro when I say I use the Pomodoro Technique. The Pomodoro Technique works because it lowers the entry barrier to tackling tasks. It's much easier to commit to 25 or 35 minutes of focused work than to face a massive task without knowing when it will be done. It's just like approaching a 1,000-piece puzzle by saying, I'm gonna work on this section for 25 minutes for now, rather than saying, I'll finish all 1,000 pieces, but I don't know when it's going to be done. Lowering the entry barrier is key to getting started on heavy workloads and staying consistent without procrastination. Another reason this technique works is that it maximizes the quality of focus. During the session, I focus on one task and one task only instead of jumping from one thing to another, which allows me to go deeper into my work, what we often refer to as getting in the zone. I also make it a point to eliminate any distractions during my focus sessions, like setting my phone aside or putting it on focus mode. I only wear my Apple Watch with all notifications turned off, except for the emergency calls from my kids' school and my husband. And since I have 5-minute break between each session, I don't feel too overwhelmed or tired, which helps me to maintain my energy levels. Most importantly, this technique helps establish routines and consistent work habits. You'll feel a sense of accomplishment as you check off each Pomodoro session. With this technique, I no longer have to wait for inspiration to strike or for the perfect time to focus. However, there are some important aspects to keep in mind when incorporating the Pomodoro technique. You have to learn how to listen to your body and adjust the technique to maximize your individual focus style. For me, I found that 35 minutes is the right amount of time to focus. The reason for that is that it often takes me a bit of a time to get into the zone, and once I'm there, I want to take full advantage of it as much as possible. That being said, each session requires flexibility as you assess your condition to focus. For example, if you find yourself stuck on a particular problem for too long, struggling to understand, or feeling mentally foggy, take a break to refresh yourself, whether by drinking water, having a healthy snack, or taking a short walk. On the other hand, if you're in the zone and deeply focused during a session and you hear the focus time is up but still want to continue, I think it's okay to extend it a bit further. Why not make the most of your concentration momentum while you have it? Before moving on to the second tip, let me show you what this is. A simple physical timer. I tried using apps and my phone for timing, but having a physical timer right on my desk works best for me. Seeing the timer ticking down in front of me creates a sense of urgency that helps me focus completely, but it might be different for individual preferences. Since I started using this technique along with the timer, my deep work sessions feels like intervals of intense sprints and short breaks in between, rather than a long, unfocused jog, which is how I used to spend countless hours at my desk. The second tip is to use weekly time blocking. I believe you've heard of the term time blocking before. It is one of the most well-known and effective time management methods out there. The secret behind the time blocking method comes down to two things: a designated set time for each task and a clear, specific plan for what to do. If there's something you genuinely want to work towards, whether it's losing weight, building a side hustle, or overcoming a relationship setback, the best way to start is by planning. Even if we recognize that making a change in a particular area of our lives is critical enough to act on, we often end up procrastinating and feeling guilty as another day slips by. This happens because our aspirations or willpower alone are often not strong enough to overcome the pull of our default daily routines. To truly start working towards a goal, it must be scheduled, just like scheduling an appointment with yourself to complete certain tasks. As you decide on specific tasks you'll do, also set when you'll do it and how long you'll spend on it. This approach, known as time blocking, is one of the most effective productivity methods I've tried personally, especially when you have a specific goals you want to achieve. Unlike traditional to-do lists, which focus mostly on what, time blocking helps establish when and how long you work on each task. This is how I set my daily time block. As you can see, I have 2 deep work sessions a day, with the more important task preferably scheduled in the first session. I also have some work in the morning after my calligraphy or lettering practice, although sometimes I extend my practice if there's no time-sensitive work to handle. As you can see, there's some buffer time in between the blocks for a little flexibility. My daily routine follows this time block schedule, except on weekends and special occasions like Prody Day at kids' school. I usually still fit in 1 or 2 deep work sessions on Saturdays, but in the evenings, I like to go on a date night with my husband. On weekends, we also enjoy spending time as a family at the soccer field for some exercise. For planning specific tasks, such as deep work sessions, I plan a week ahead or at least a day before and write down what to complete in my to-do list. With a clear goal in mind and aligned tasks needed to achieve it laid out, you can simply place those into the time blocks and follow through. It makes your life so much easier. I'm the kind of person who prefers routine over spontaneity, so I found the time blocking is a bit easier for me to apply, even if it could be a little detailed. However, if your style is a bit more spontaneous, you can simplify your daily time blocks to suit your needs. Just be sure to include 1 or 2 of the most important tasks in your routine based on their priority. Time blocking is a bit like setting a doctor's appointment at a specific time. You're much more likely to follow through compared to just saying, I'll drop by the walk-in clinic sometime tomorrow. As time blocking is a powerful tool to help you actually get things done, there are some aspects you need to keep in mind to make it more effective. Prioritize your tasks within your time blocks. Put the most important or urgent tasks at the times when you have the most energy. For me, that's during my first deep work sessions. Consider having buffer blocks for breaks in between. You also want your time blocks to be realistic, so set a reasonable time frame. This will help maintain focus and prevent burnout, allowing you to keep going. Clearly outline what you want to achieve. The more specific and clear you are about what to do in each time block, the more likely you are to complete it. Break down larger projects into smaller, manageable tasks. Be flexible and schedule if something urgent comes up. Life is unpredictable. At the end of the day, time blocking is a means to an end, not the end itself. By following these guidelines in weekly time blocking schedule, you'll ultimately feel more in control of your daily routine rather than being swayed by automatic emotional responses. This time blocking system has helped me feel more balanced across many areas of my life: work, family, and rest. Knowing I have a scheduled time blocks for the things that matter to me keeps me from feeling rushed and brings a sense of peace. The third tip is to start right with a fresh mind and body. The productivity of your work, or even your entire day, hinges on how you begin. If you dive into your task feeling tired, disorganized, or distracted, just forcing yourself to sit at the desk, it's no wonder you struggle to make meaningful progress. I found that in many cases, the main reason I struggled with productivity wasn't a lack of killer productivity techniques or trendy apps, but rather not being in ideal condition to focus, to tackle the things I wanted to accomplish. At the end of the day, how to manage your time is ultimately about managing yourself. If you cultivate a fresh mind, body, and environment to work in, you'll be able to achieve better results and truly enjoy the process. For example, a simple yet powerful tip to start right is to clean your work desk. While it may seem trivial, a tidy workspace can instantly ignite your motivation and readiness to tackle the task ahead. Moreover, cleaning your desk or room can kickstart a habit of preparing yourself for whatever responsibilities lie on your path. Another example of starting your task prepared is follow a simple but helpful morning routine, such as getting a sunlight exposure. Sunlight triggers a release of hormone like cortisol, helping you feel more alert and awake, which shakes off morning grogginess and prepares you for the day ahead. These examples highlight how putting your mind and body in the right state can empower you to tackle the task you plan to do. Facing your daily tasks without these preparations is like stepping into battle without armor. You can't expect to triumph over productivity if you remain vulnerable to distractions lurking around every corner. So, find the things that can refresh your mind and body, such as cleaning your desk, getting sunlight, drinking warm tea, journaling, or spending time in solitude. Anything that sets you up to tackle your tasks with renewed energy. The fourth tip is to reflect on your day. One productivity audiobook I enjoyed listening to was Make Time by Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky. I really appreciated the approach, as the time management framework presented in the book is deeply rooted in an understanding of how humans naturally function. Jake and John outlines a 4-part framework in the book: highlight, laser, energize, and reflect. Among those, reflection is one element I find critical, yet often overlooked by many. I can't stress enough how important this reflection is if you want to establish your own daily productivity routine. Reflection means taking a few minutes at the end of each day to assess what worked, what didn't, and why. Since productivity is not a one-size-fits-all approach, reflecting on what methods and routines work for you is the best way to identify strategies that are tailored to you. And this is how you do it. When you reflect, note the techniques and tactics you have tried, whether they were effective enough or not. If they weren't, think about why they might have fallen short. You can also ask yourself, when are you most focused or energized? Or what distractions or obstacles may have kept you from fully focusing and being productive? These moments of reflection give you the opportunity to pinpoint the nature of the recurring distractions you face. For instance, if you frequently feel rushed and struggle to settle into tasks, Dig deeper to understand the cause. Is it a habitual mindset that needs adjusting, or just a situational stressor? If it's a recurring issue, consider specific strategies to address it so you can avoid the problem and build a routine that works for you. Sometimes, simply changing your work environment or timing of your deep work session can make a huge difference in reducing distractions. Building effective habits begins with understanding yourself. And I find that there's almost always a reason why some methods work while others don't. And you can uncover these reasons through reflection. Try different methods, see what works best, and you'll eventually find the one that fits you like a glove. The fifth tip is to say no if it's not wholeheartedly yes. Especially if you know you'll regret saying yes afterwards. Some people ask me how I manage to juggle all my work while raising 2 kids, giving the impression that I lead quite a chaotic, busy life. If I have to share a secret, it's that I try to keep things simple by saying no to many things so I can focus on a few. I'm not saying that living a simpler life is the ideal way to live for everyone. We all have different values and priorities, and we each have unique paths to happiness. I don't spend much time shopping, attending gatherings, or exploring many hobbies. Mostly, I spend time with my family and a few close friends. I don't know, maybe I should explore a bit more in this area. But the point I'm trying to make here is that if you know you'll feel dissatisfied or regretful after committing your time, then have the courage to say no. In many cases, when you feel you don't have the time to pursue something you want to build or learn, it's not because you truly don't have the time to do it, but because your life is already filled with all the commitments and endless default activities you could have chosen to say no. Yes, it's a matter of priority. It's not about how busy or simple your life should be, but it's more about knowing yourself and prioritizing what's truly important to you and your life. By saying no to certain things, you'll have more capacity to manage your life with far less regret in the long run. So, learn to say no unless it's a wholeheartedly yes. Find joy in the simple repetition of the day. Steve Jobs once said, "It's only by saying no that you can concentrate on the things that are really important." So, those are the 5 tips on how to manage your time. If you've been searching for ways to be more productive for a while, but feel like you're not making meaningful progress and are wasting time day by day, don't lose hope. There are better ways to manage your time and yourself than simply grinding away and relying solely on your willpower. If I could share just one more secret, it helps to lower your expectations, especially if you tend toward perfectionism. You don't have to go 100 miles per hour all the time. Even if you didn't finish the work as much as you would hope, if you put in your best focus during those time block sessions, gracefully give yourself permission to rest, guilt-free. It's often more fulfilling to savor the journey than to rush to the finish line. I hope you find some useful tips in the video that you can incorporate into your routine. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!